Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's time for a new video. I got this new phone tripod and I really like the lighting. It looks so good, so I hope you all like it. So I'm going to be talking about some 2020 releases that I have really loved this year. And I'm definitely going to make multiple parts of this because there's so much. Because everyone's already started talking about 2021 releases, and while that's wonderful and we have so many absolutely incredible books to look forward to, I want to just spread some love about the books that came out this year because there are so many incredible ones. So we're going to get straight into it. All the books that I'm going to talk about are going to be linked down below, or if I talked about any of them in any videos, which there's a lot of those, I'm going to link that down below as well because there's so much to get to. And also, I'm going to divide it into genres because I understand if you obviously don't care about every genre. So on the timeline, you're gonna see all the different time chunks where I talk about a specific genre. I'm gonna be starting out with fantasy. And also, all of these books are in no particular order. I also, any of the books that I don't talk about today, it doesn't mean I love them any less. I just made myself stop at a certain point. The first book that I have here is Cinderella is Dead by Kalynn Bayron. So this book came out this summer. This cover is so beyond stunning that I can't handle it. This entire year, like every time I see it, I can't. I And the book is so incredible on the inside as well. I actually vlogged about reading it, and the video of course isn't up yet, but it is definitely going to be out soon. So stay tuned for that. But I loved this book. I give it 5 stars. It is a YA fantasy, and it's basically set 100 or 200 years after Cinderella's death. And it's set in this deeply misogynistic world where girls have to basically to be invited to this ball where they can find a husband, but they have to be chosen by a man to get married, and they have to do that, and it's just disgusting. And there's definitely, make sure to check out the trigger warnings because especially at the beginning of the book, there's a lot that is mentioned that is just really terrible and everything. But basically, the main character goes on a journey to try to change this. She is also a lesbian, so that adds to her reason of not wanting to get married to a random man, obviously. And so there is a sapphic romance in this, and it is not a big part of it, but it is really cute. And this book to me, it was so powerful and inspiring, and it touched my heart so deeply. And the other fantasy that I have physically is The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. I have heard quite mixed things about this, but for me, it is actually one of my new all-time favorite books. I love it so much. So this book was pitched as just basically kind of a darker villain romance, basically. And while the main character is definitely morally gray, both the main characters are morally gray, they are actually super they're total softies deep down. If you're someone who, loves villain stories and that's what you're looking for in this, it might not be fully fun and satisfying for you in that aspect. But I'm actually my absolute favorite characters ever are the ones who are kind of they make questionable decisions, they have done questionable things, but deep down they're good, you know? And so this is perfect for me. And it's actually it's a YA fantasy romance, and I felt like the romance aspect was quite a big part of the book. And it's basically the main character, Alessandra. She wants to marry the Shadow King so that she can kill him and become the queen. And the Shadow King has obviously plans of his own. He has powers and everything, and it doesn't quite work out as, she planned. And I had so much fun with this book. I flew through it, and I actually read it in my video where I read books with beautiful covers. So I think this is all I'm going to say about this, and you can watch that if you haven't, if you want to hear more of my thoughts. So the next fantasy book I have is The Kingdom of Back by Mary Lou. I loved this book so much, and it's actually it's a book that is not one that I would expect myself to love because it's not completely my vibe, but it touched my heart so deeply, and it was unlike anything I've ever read before. And it was just it actually it was the kind of experience where like it made me look at the world in a different way, and it just like, holy fuck, it was an intense experience. And basically, this book is about the sister of Mozart, and her name is Nannerl, and she is an incredible pianist. Is that how you say it? Obviously, you know, like everyone around her is kind of sexist and she doesn't have as many opportunities. It's set in our world, but obviously, like in historical times. But it has magic in it. There's this world that the two siblings kind of run into, and the way that the story like unravels is just incredible, and it's so magical and beautiful, and like it just impacted me so strongly, and like I cried at the end, and it was just absolutely incredible and seriously unlike anything I've ever read, and the cover is so beautiful. I need to get myself a copy of this book at some point. Then I have The Midnight Lie by Mary Rutkowski. I absolutely adored this book, and I read this in a video where I actually read some of my anticipated 2020 releases. This book is another YA fantasy, and it's about Nirim, who is a part of this like lower caste, and in this world, in this like town, the people who are kind of like in the lower class, they can't have any things that bring them pleasure, any colors, any kind of luxury. They can't have any of it. And so Nirim actually kind of goes on this journey where she uncovers the secrets and everything of the town and the way that it all works. And she runs into this mysterious traveler, and it's just like, I loved it so much. This one also has a sapphic romance, and like it was one of my absolute favorite sapphic romances that I read like in the book. I loved it, and it also felt really like unlike anything that I've read before in a very different way, but I just loved it so much. And it's another book that I desperately need to own physically, and I love the cover so much as well. The next book is Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko. I loved this. It's just so good. It's about Terasai, who basically has just been really lonely, and all she wants is a family and a place where she belongs. And this book has the found family trope, and it's literally like this like literally like found family where all of these people get basically like connected to each other, and they like become a part of this group that works closely with the king, if that makes sense. And Terasai is also destined to actually kill the crown prince. So that's another part of the plot that is, you know, very interesting, that you find that out like literally at the beginning of the book. And just the friendships, incredible. The romance, incredible. The journey that the main character goes on is just, it's all absolutely incredible. This is, I'm pretty sure, a debut novel, and it is such a strong and incredible debut novel that you really need to check out. Listen to the audiobook for this, and it was so good. So if you listen to audiobooks, definitely check this one out. One more that I'll say for fantasy is A Song of Wreaths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This book is another YA fantasy, and it's West African inspired, and it's so good. The plot in this book is really intricate, and it's really fast paced, and the characters are so complex and incredible, and I loved it so much. And it's basically about Malik and Karina, and Malik is a refugee and Karina is the crown princess, and they basically end up having to kill each other. Again, I do want to say it is not like a villain type of a story. It is not like enemies to lovers in the sense that they're like super strong enemies. They're just faced with really hard decisions. The romance is not a big part of it, but I'm definitely like hoping that the sequel will have more of that. But like, it's definitely a very plot driven story, but at the same time the characters are incredible. You should all check it out and read it if you haven't yet. So the next book that I'm going to say is kind of to transition between fantasy into contemporary, and that is Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega. So this one is kind of like a paranormal urban fantasy type of a book, and this one is a middle grade. So I think this is the only middle grade that I have for this video, but I should maybe like do a video of reading middle grade books that came out this year because I haven't read that many. But anyway, tell me if you would be interested in that. But Ghost Squad is such a beautiful book. It has ghosts, obviously. The main character can see like the ghosts of her family members that passed away, and so it has really great family relationships. And also there's like at the center there's a strong female friendship, which, if you don't know, is something that I love so much. There's also a cat and ghosts and just like a fun adventure. And I don't know if I want to tell you about the plot, but the two girls have to go on this journey to battle evil and, you know, figure shit out and just go on a magical adventure. So definitely check this book out. It was so fun and so cute, and just I loved it so much. So moving on to contemporary, the next book is The Henna Wars by Adiba Aygardar. I loved this so much. So this book is a sapphic romance. The two girls basically have to participate in this business competition in one of their classes, and they both end up choosing to do like a henna business. And so this has kind of like a rivals to lovers romance, and it's just so fun and so cute. It deals with some important issues, but at the same time it's just a really fluffy and fun story, and I really recommend it. The next book is Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender. This cover is just, I'll never get over it. I love it so much. This book is about Felix, a transgender teen who basically has to grapple with his identity, self-discovery, and love, and so many different things. And this book is definitely like a coming-of-age story. It has a romance, but it's very complicated, and I don't know if I want to tell you like anything about the actual premise. Kacen Callender just writes such incredibly real stories that they get really messy, and sometimes as a reader it really frustrates you, but it all just makes sense and it all comes together in the best way possible. And so definitely read this book for an incredible coming of age story, and just it's so good. The next book is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This book is another queer story, and this one has a sapphic romance in it. And the main character, Liz, basically she doesn't really have money to go to college, and so she decides to participate in becoming prom queen, which at their school it like gets you a scholarship or something. She does that, and there she meets Mac. Mac is also like in the competition, but like I wouldn't describe it as like rivals to lovers or anything. It's more like a really fluffy and super adorable story. And the sapphic romance, again, it's not like the main part of the book. I would also call this book more of a coming of age story, but it's so good, and it explores friendships a lot as well, and just standing up for yourself and figuring yourself out, and it's just such a beautiful story. I obviously recommend all of these books. And the last contemporary that I have for now is 10 Things I Hate About Pinky by Sandhya Menon. I also read this book in the 2020 releases video. I also read The Henna Wars there actually. So again, you know, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, check that out. But I love Sandhya Menon so much, and I was actually lucky enough to get an arc of this. And it was so good. I loved it so much. The main character, Pinky, she's so passionate and she's really rebellious, and she just wants to fight to make the world a better place. And she starts fake dating Samir to basically show to her parents that she can be like responsible and serious and everything, and it gets really messy, and it's just so fun. It's set at this like summer house so it has really strong summer vibes, and I loved it so much. So we're gonna move into adult romance. So the first adult romance that I have here that I actually also read in that same 2020 releases video is Meet Cute Club by Jack Harbin. So this is an Own Voices male romance, and it's about this romance book club that's called the Meet Cute Club. And I would say it's kind of like rivals to lovers. Like the first interaction between the two main characters isn't ideal, but it's not really like enemies to lovers. It's like a love letter to books and romance books in particular. Such an adorable, wonderful, cute as fuck story. It's not really like that steamy, if that's something, you know, that you don't really want to read about. The next book I have here is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. In case you didn't know, Talia is literally my favorite romance author and one of my absolute favorite just authors in general. Her romances are just incredible. Her characters are absolutely wonderful and is just always the best time. And I actually recently made a video where I read Talia Hibbert's favorite books for my series, where I read my favorite authors' favorite books to see if I can find any new favorite authors or favorite books. And so I adore her and I loved this book so fucking much, and I just recently got a physical copy because I had to own it. This book is about Dani and Zafir, and they are basically like co-workers and it's friends to lovers, and they basically start fake dating. Like, no words can do this book justice. If you love reading adult romance and you haven't read books by Talia yet, you absolutely need to. So I really recommend this book. You need to check it out. And another book by Talia that I have is Guarding Temptation. This is another book that came out by her earlier this year, and she actually kind of has like traditionally published books, and then she still self-publishes some books and like novellas and stuff. So this book is only 114 pages and it's a best friends to lovers romance, and it's forced proximity, and it's absolutely incredible. And if you really like reading steamy romances, then check them out, and check Talia out in general. So you're not going to regret it. Then I need to say The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I actually read this book for the video where I read Talia's favorite books, and let's just say this was absolutely a new favorite. I adored it. It is basically about a wedding planner, Lena, and Max, who is the brother of Lena's ex-fiance. And the two of them have to basically work together, and so on a project, and it has some kind of like office romance vibes a little bit, and there is the only one bed trope at one point, and it's incredible. It's such a fun and wonderful romance, and you absolutely need to check it out. And last but by no means least is You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria. Yet again, you guessed it, I read this for a video that's not out yet, but it is going to be very soon. I loved this book so much. Like, the second I saw this cover, I was like, I need to have it, because both of them are so gorgeous and the vibes of this are just incredible, and it did not disappoint. I had actually heard quite mixed things about this book, but I adored it. It's about Jasmine and Ashton, who work together as actors on this new telenovela. They have to play characters that fall in love. It's so fun. It's actually also a single father romance, and just I loved it so much. I just, the connection between them and everything, like their relationship was just so romantic and sensual and beautiful, and the smut was really great as well, and it was just such an incredible book. And also a lot of Latinx readers say that this book is absolutely incredible in terms of the representation as well. So, you know, if that's something that you're also looking for, definitely check this book out. And that is going to be it for this video. It was pretty long, but hopefully you found some new books to read. Video thumbs up if you liked it, and if you want to see the part 2 where I talk about even more books that I loved that came out this year. If you got this far into the video, just leave a book emoji down below, because I don't have any other more creative ideas. And thank you so much for watching. Tell me in the comments down below, what is a 2020 release that you loved, or one that you really want to read. And that's gonna be it. Have a great day, and I'm gonna see you soon in another video. Bye!